Hey guys, I'm back. I'm trying to do two videos back to back. I just did the other video and I wanted to make this one kind of a carry-on. The first one was church folks, and it was about the stigma behind church folks and how phony and hypocritical they can be, or we can be, because I'm a church folk, part of that group. And so I wanted to just kind of encourage you guys and address it. And I have a first hand because my mom's a pastor, my dad's a bishop, I'm a PK's kid, and yes, I was wild. And I still have to tame those demons. Okay, so back into what I was talking about, but this is a kind of a different one. The reason why I'm so big on faith, besides my own life journey and what I learned through faith, is because faith is real. I know a lot of times when you look out to this world, you don't understand how God can allow so many things to happen. Heck, I pray about it all the time because sometimes I feel in the dark as well, and I'm his daughter, so trust me, I understand. And then also when you look on the news, it seems like all hope is lost. But the reason why, that's kind of tied into why faith is so important, okay? When God first designed this world, it was supposed to be a mini replica of how his home worked and operated in heaven, okay? But when sin got in through man's ability to choose he chose free will. Basically, he was formed and created in pureness. But God gave him the opportunity to choose between his way and God's way. And that's what our issue has been from the beginning of time, is constantly having this war within us that says there's something about my way that I want to do, even though it may have gotten me in jail, even though I might have a baby out of wedlock, even though I might have lost a home or lost a car. Although our poor choices constantly eat at us and God tries to spare us, there's something in the human working, because that's how we were designed. We were designed to rule and reign. And that is a part of our makeup, our spiritual DNA and our natural DNA. It didn't die. So you have this war of conscience, which is, until we're in right relationship with Christ, it's that place that God protects us, where he still can kind of nudge at our choices, to say. And then you have this spiritual part that says, no, rebel against that. And a lot of what happens in the natural is a result of what starts in the spiritual. So when you decide to, prime example, not work out, it starts in your mind of saying, you know what, gosh, I'm tired, I don't want to do this. Or when you decide to enroll in a class, you don't just wake up at the college with your pen in your hand. You actually, in your mind, begin to conceive the idea of working out. Of getting enrolled in school. And that's the same thing, is as many help books as we may have, as many affirmation poems we may read, as many self-help books as we may take in, that's nothing. Because see, knowledge without application is just information. True wisdom requires us to take what we've learned and now apply it. But what happens is, to apply it, it means we have to deny our very instinct to rebel. If you don't believe me, look at a baby. A baby has no knowledge of weed, alcohol, titty bar. A baby has no knowledge of that. But if you ask a 2-year-old to give you something, what do they say? No. Why? Because it is a part of that child's nature to rebel against rule and structure. That's why we spend our lives looking for tips on time management, home management, life management, because what we're trying to do is bring our life into rule without God. So we're kind of like, okay, Adam and Eve, when they sinned against God, no longer did he do all the work for them. They now were required to participate. And it was no longer joyous work. It was now tedious work by the sweat of their brow because of their choosing their way. Look at what happens today. You have a single mom who has to work 3 jobs because she has to keep up with designer clothes for her kids. That's considered her way. You might have a woman who strips to put herself through school. Although, she might feel it's very justified, that's her way. So a lot of times our way seems right to us because that's our way. It's what feels right. It's what I want to do. But it may not necessarily be the way it was designed for our life. Perfect example of that is take 2 teenagers. Now in school they learn about safe sex, but in the Bible it talks about waiting to marriage. You have the world's way and world system. You have God's way. God designed this world. He designed our temples, so he knows what happens to 2 souls when they come together in premarital sex. The world doesn't address it because the world provides condoms and everything else so that this world can run. Because let's face it, clinics would be closed down, HIV counselors would be out of work, so many things would happen, people would be unemployed. So a part of the condition of being in a corrupt system is God permits, not he desires it, he permits these things to be so. So you have God's way of waiting until you're married, but you have the world's way of go ahead, it's okay, everybody's doing it. Look, it's on Scandal, it's on Love and Hip Hop, it's on this. And you have this, maybe a girl, a young woman who's never had a father, or a young man who's trying to impress his boys, now engaging in something that they have no idea the purpose and design, because God created sex. So now when they have sex and they create a baby, that baby has no structure. That baby now becomes a part of their rebellious design because of what they did. So now not only is the mom more than likely becoming a single mom, she's now going to maybe struggle to get child support. This is not everybody's situation. Some people are very blessed and God has been merciful to a lot of people. But that she might now have to struggle for child support, or she might be on welfare, or that child may grow up without a father and he may cut school or get in trouble. That's called a result of lawless living. But see, what happens is the world thrives on our ignorance. We supply the support for police officers. If there was no crime and we lived in perfect design by God's design, do you know how many officers would be unemployed? Do you know how many pharmaceutical companies would be unemployed if we truly live by God's design? But like I said, because we choose to rebel, God in his mercy permits it. When I say in his mercy, meaning God knew we would still have sex outside of marriage. So he provides the clinics, he provides the doctors, he provides the OBGYN for or teen challenge places. God knew that we would have people who would be on substance abuse, so he provides In other words, God saw when Adam and Eve sinned against God and they were now naked. What did the Bible, if you're familiar, if you're not, I'll just tell you real quick. The Bible said God then turned around and made clothes for them. Now that was something that really touched me. Here it is, they literally had just sinned against God. God could have been like most human fathers. Negroes, I'm about to whoop y'all tail. Y'all hard-headed. Didn't I just say don't eat them apples? Why you do that? You just messed up everything. Nope. Yeah, he gave them their consequences, as we do as parents to our children, which is why it trips me out that people get mad when God disciplines us. We do it to our own children in the natural. Why is it so strange that we get mad at God? But back to what I was saying. God then took, after he disciplined them, and then turned around and clothed them. Clothed them. God could allow them to walk around naked. Eve could have probably got raped because now they were aware of good and evil. So some guys probably would have went, yo, look at them titties. Ooh, ooh. And then Adam would have probably had to fight them Negroes off. But instead, God in his mercy gave them clothes. Not only that, even though God turned around and said, in labor you will have your baby in pain, God turned around and gave a man the idea of an epidural. God has been showing us his love since the beginning of time. But because his love doesn't look familiar, or because it's not always comfortable and easy peasy, as the world wants to make it seem like their way is, Even though, look at people in jail. Look at how many people have died from HIV/AIDS. Look at the cancer rates. Look at so many things. But yet we somehow think that God is the enemy. It's because, unfortunately, the world makes us covet and desire their way because they seem to have it all together. Even though Justin Bieber, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, all these people are persecuted by the very ones they serve, the world makes us think they have it all together. So, I just wanted to say that to you, to say the reason why faith is so important, and the reason why you'll hear me sometimes get off of my life coach or off of my relationship kind of driven messages, is because it's important for us to know who God is, whether we want to believe it or not. It's important for us to accept that faith is so necessary. Guys, that's my time. I'm a minute over. I told you I wasn't playing. I want to stick with that 10 or less, and this is my video, and the one before that I messed that up by a minute. I hope you can bear with me and forgive me. Please share this. Somebody needs to hear it. Please like it, and please subscribe. There's more to come. Watch out. Good things are on the way.